So, to be mindful of time, we're going to go ahead and get started. Just a quick make sure everybody's in the right spot. This is the orientation welcome for family members, for students that are entering class of 2029 in the College of Biological Sciences. Hopefully, everybody is in the right location. Again, this is the Orientation Aggie Families Welcome. We're here to connect with our parents, guardians, and family members of our incoming class of students. So, welcome everybody to the space. And we're going to go ahead and jump into our presentation and then make our way through to the end towards Q&A opportunities for you all to ask us questions. You can feel free to throw questions in the chat as I'm talking, and we'll try and look through them and get to them at the end of the presentation, or you can wait till we get to that portion and then put your questions in the chat. All right, so we're going to start. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so as I was just mentioning, our agenda for the evening. We're going to go through an introduction for the College of Biological Sciences, some of the programming that we have, our majors and our departments. I'm going to talk to you all about the Biology Academic Success Center and how your scholars can prepare for success, upcoming information about registration and orientation welcome week, and then jump into Q&A. I am Dr. Ebony McLean. I am the Assistant Dean of Undergraduate Advising for the College of Biological Sciences, the Director of the Biology Academic Success Center, which is the one-stop shop hub of academic advising and academic support services that I will talk to you all about later in the presentation. I am joined here today with my colleague Yasmin Jefferson, who will help us with Q&A later on. She's one of our phenomenal academic advisors in the Basque. And Jasmine Campos, my associate director for the Basque, who is helping with some technology and background things and may be able to jump in if we need some assistance with Q&A as well. Again, feel free to submit those questions in the Q&A box, and we will get to them later on in the presentation. So, what is the College of Biological Sciences? This is the home of your students, hopefully, for the next 2 to 4 years, depending on if your scholars are coming in as transfer students or 4 years as our first year students. We're a robust, diverse community of scholars. We have faculty members, over 124 faculty members, research and instructional staff. 15 National Academy of Sciences members, and over 175 dedicated staff members that are here to support your students through their academic journeys. Our College of Biological Sciences is only, I believe, one of three colleges in the United States dedicated to biological sciences. Typically, the biological sciences is found as a major, a broad major within another college or community. But here at UC Davis, we have an entire college dedicated to different majors that emphasize biological sciences, everything from evolution and ecology, microbiology, cellular biology, molecular biology, neurobiology, physiology and behavior, plant biology, systems biology. And all of these majors that we have are divided into our 5 academic departments that are listed here. And this is really special again because of the fact that our students can really hone down into the specific areas of interest within the biological sciences versus just staying within a broad general major. Go ahead, next slide. So all of our majors in our college have a very similar core curriculum. This is really great because it allows exploration. A lot of students will come in with one major in mind. They may think they want to do that because they want to be a pre-med student or go into another professional school, not realizing that they can be in any major and still pursue medical school or different professional school opportunities. Now, our students are able to float between majors of interest this way because of our core curriculum, meaning that all of our students take pretty much the same lower division courses during their first 2 years, the same maths, chemistries, um, biologies and physics classes, all of those lower division classes are going to be the same across all of our major, no matter if you're the general biological sciences major, human biology, or jumping into like cellular biology or evolution and ecology. They're all going to take those same general core classes. Again, this allows our students to help fluctuate between the majors so that if you think you're coming in as a biological sciences major, but start taking your courses and realize you actually really like plant sciences and want to move over to plant biology, then you can easily do that because you have the same lower division core curriculum. And again, a lot of our students come in thinking that they want to go a pre-med route or a professional school route. This is a lot of interest to many of our students. So we also have health professions advising that students can look through, and I'll share a little bit more about that later as well. But the way our majors do differ, even though they come in with the same lower division curriculum, is that it's basically looking at our majors in a way of what do you like about the sciences that you're studying? How do you ask questions? How do you think yourself? So they differ in ways of maybe they like the small nitty-gritty of things, of looking at molecules at the molecular level, cellular organisms, or maybe they like to grow into bigger things, the organisms, the ecosystems. Um, Maybe it's about the why things work the way they work, or maybe it's about how things work. Maybe it's about the research problem, and that's where they're going to start to get different as they get more involved in the upper division curriculum that they're involved in, and that's when the majors are going to start to differ and take their own avenue and path, so that students can explore at a more specific level aligned with their major. You can go on to the next slide. So we have 11 majors in the College of Biological Sciences, and you can go ahead and do all the clicks to bring everything up here. Thank you. So again, everything from the smallest of atoms and molecules with our like biochemistry and molecular biology, all the way up to the very broad level exploration of biological sciences, exploring everything within the study of life, the ecosystems, the biosphere, and everything in between is encompassed in our different 11 majors. Some students may even come in as an undeclared life science major, which is not listed here. Those students are going to take the same general courses. It just they have a little extra time to decide on which one of these majors they want to call their home. You can go ahead and go forward. So again, when it's time for your student to explore their major of interest, or maybe they're thinking about changing their major within the College of Biological Sciences, we ask them to really think about what they're passionate about, what do they find interesting about their studies, as they're figuring out which one of these majors is the right one for them. Again, you may come in as a um, biochemistry major and you may never change your path, and that's what you graduate as well. 9 times out of 10, students come in and they change their major, and that's absolutely normal and okay. And as they're doing that exploration, we're encouraging them here in the College of Biological Sciences to think about what they're passionate about, think about what they want to spend their time studying, where they don't feel burdened by spending time there, but they're actually energized and have joy in spending time with this major. We want our students to recognize that what's called the Carnegie rule, that a lot of time goes into the classwork and that it's often considered a full-time job because for every unit that they're taking, there's 2 to 3 hours of time outside the class that we encourage them to dedicate to studying. So if a student's taking 12 or 15-hour unit load, that could be upwards of 30 hours dedicated to homework assignments, studying for tests, exam review. And we want to make sure that the students, while spending all of this time preparing that they're doing it in a space that they enjoy and a major that they enjoy. So we encourage this one of our favorite quotes here. Don't ask yourself what the world needs. Ask yourself what makes you come alive, and then go do that. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. And the way I interpret that is pretty much what sets your soul on fire in a way that you get excited about the studies that you're doing so that you can be successful, so that your scholars can be successful during their time in this program and not feel discouraged because they're not super interested in the work that they're doing. Okay, you can go forward. So, in our effort to help your students be successful while they're pursuing their passions, we offer a variety of student success programming, including peer-to-peer mentoring through a program called the Bio Launch and Mentor Collective. This is an opportunity for first year and first quarter transfer students to be connected and matched with a peer advisor. This is a student who has already gone through their first couple of years of school, and they're able to connect with your scholars and help them navigate campus, help them navigate their courses, help them navigate resources that are available to them. Everything from what do you all asking questions like, what do you all think about this time for this class and this professor, down to where can I find help in tutoring, or no, all the way on over to I want a certain type of food. Where can I eat at? So our peer mentors are trained in a way that can help our students excel academically and be an additional resource to them during their first year on campus. We also have the Bio Launch seminars for our incoming students, Biz 005 for our first year students, Biz 198 for our transfer students. This is an additional 1 unit course that helps students get introduced to campus that is specifically for students in the life sciences. This course is phenomenal because it brings in different resources from campus, including a basque advisor will come to class and talk to the students. There's folks there that will talk to them about building their schedule and balancing their load to study skills, time management skills. So this is a really great seminar. It's a pass-fail grading, so all your student really needs to do is show up and participate and learn all of these phenomenal resources that are available to them by the presenters that will be coming to speak to them in class. Truly just a course to help them get acclimated to campus. And then my favorite, of course, of all of the student success opportunities we have for them is the Biology Academic Success Center, which I'll tell you more about. That is my hub of work with our academic advising team. And I'll share more about the Basque with you all in a minute. Oh, so I just went through this, our peer-to-peer mentoring. Incoming students have a lot of questions about, like I was mentioning, anything from academic life, study skills, what classes to take, when to take them, all the way over to campus life and where they can find good food at. And there really, truly is nobody better to answer these questions than someone who has just recently gone through these experiences themselves. And there is research backed behind how peers connect better with their peers. So um, that's why we truly believe in the BioLaunch Mentor Collective program. Next slide. All right, so the Biology Academic Success Center, also known as the BASC, I would take a picture or screenshot of this screen if you can, because there are some great links and information here that I would like for you all to make sure you pass to your students, your scholars. The top link here, the CBS undergrads at ucdavis.edu, that is the email address of our ticket system. So if you or your students are ever lost and have questions, you can for sure just email our ticket system. If we can't answer your question, we will make sure to point you and your students in the right direction. The link right below that is our actual physical website address to get to the Basque website. So, the Biology Academic Success Center, we are your one-stop shop for academic advising and academic support services. We provide everything from scheduled appointments where you can schedule one-on-one appointments with your basque advisor. And can you go ahead to the next slide? Because I think this is on the next slide too. There we go. So scheduled appointments, 30 minutes where your students can schedule these one-on-one sessions with your basque advisor. I currently have a team of about 20 academic advisors who are there, professional staff members to work with your students on a variety of topics in these one-on-one sessions. These are always 30 minutes and scheduled in advance. Your students can schedule appointments up to 2 weeks in advance. They're offered Monday through Friday. It's not on the screen, but I'd like to pause here and take a moment to let you all know that physically, the Basque is closed, our physical location, because we're under construction this year. So if your students try to come by our office and we're not there, that's because we're offering all of our services from now through December virtually. So they can get all of these services that I'm mentioning to you virtually. And then after December, we'll open back up after our office construction is done, and we'll be back in person offering these as well. But as of right now, everything's virtual. So again, they can schedule these 30-minute appointments up to 2 weeks in advance. They just get on our website, they put in their information, and they will be able to pick appointments that fit their availability and class schedules. Again, a variety of topics here. Then we also have express advising. Express advising is really good because our appointments, 30-minute appointments, they book up so quickly. But a student may have a question that very day and they're like, well, I need help now. So, a couple of days throughout the week, we offer virtual express advising as well, where students can log into our portal, no appointment needed, and immediately during those hours talk to a basque advisor from their major. These are quicker sessions so that we don't cover as many topics as we would in our 30-minute. We pretty much stick to the topics that can be answered quickly. So if your student is in need of something more in depth and a longer chatting time, then we will need to schedule an appointment with them. But in the meantime, if it's something quick, they can always come to our virtual express advising. During the academic year, during the school year, we typically have express advising 2 days of the week, except during like busy peak periods, we'll offer it more frequently to help students like get registered for classes and so on. All of this information as well is located on our BASC website. So if your student is ever confused about, well, what do I go to what, all this information is listed there. So when they're scheduling an appointment, you can pretty much talk about anything. But if they think they're about to log into Express Advising and they're just not sure, they can always browse the list on the website to see if it's an Express Advising topic. In addition to express advising, we also have faculty advisors and peer advisors. Our faculty advisors are a phenomenal resource that I feel like is actually very underutilized, and encourage you to encourage your students to use them more often. Our faculty advisors are associated with our majors. So each academic major in our college has 1 to 3 faculty members assigned to it to help your students. They often connect with your students about research opportunities, career exploration, graduate program exploration and planning, helping them get into the more specifics of like, what can I do with this major, or what do I need to be doing now to help me get into grad school or this specific grad program? Or I'd really like to explore research in this area, and the faculty members can help them talk through that, understand what they're getting into, help them explore their options that are available to them. And again, a great resource that I feel like is underutilized, but they are definitely there for your students. And then we have our peer advisors. Our peer advisors are current CBS students who are progressing through their majors and available to help students in an advising drop-in fashion. So our peer advisors work in the office, and they're typically there Monday through Thursday, and can students can come into the office and connect with a peer advisor right then and there during peer advisor hours. Those hours vary because it has to align with the student's schedule as a student worker, but you can always browse our website too to know what the hours are for the quarter. And again, going over general education requirements, on-campus involvement, different resources, questions about classes and scheduling, our peer advisors can help. One of the favorite resources I that we have in our office, though, is our mental health counselor too. John DePaul Dunbar is our new counselor for our team. This is a dedicated professional from Health and Counseling Services on campus who's embedded in our office to support CBS students within the College of Biological Sciences. Their office is located within our suite of offices in our building, but they also have an office in North Hall on campus so that can see students there. Again, students go through a whole roller coaster of emotions, life events, circumstances and situations that may stress them out, bring an extra emotional demand. And having an extra person to talk to has proven to be very beneficial to our students within our college. So again, John DePaul Dunbar is the mental health counselor embedded with our team to work with our CBS students directly. If their schedule does not allow them to work with students, there is also, though, a way to connect students to additional mental health services on campus through student health and counseling services. Okay. All right. This is another important slide that if you want, go ahead and take a picture of it so you can, or go ahead and copy that link down and be able to reference it later. I'd like to let all family members, parents, guardians know that once our students come to campus, no matter of their age, their documents, their academic records, just their records on campus in general are protected by what's called the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. What this means is once your students come to campus and enroll at UC Davis, by law, you cannot have access to your children's academic records, their educational records. They have the right to privacy when it comes to these records, and that can be alarming to a lot of parents who are funding their students' education, very involved with their students' education, want to support their students. And it's like, what can I do to support my student if I can't have access to this information? Once your student turns 18 or enters a post-secondary education, they have to do what's called a FERPA waiver. Again, the Federal Education Rights and Privacy Act, FERPA. They have to sign a FERPA waiver that allows their parents, guardians, or any other individual that they deem appropriate to have access to their records. So if you want to have access to your student's record, you need to have a conversation with them, talk to them about FERPA, and you can send them to us. So on that other screen that I told you to take a screenshot of, you can have your student email our ticket system. Since we're not in person this fall, they can't come in and physically get a FERPA waiver from us, but they can email our ticket system and we can again talk to them about the FERPA, what they're getting themselves into, what they are signing, make sure they're aware of what their rights are aligned with the FERPA um, Privacy Act, and they can make that decision to submit that so that you all can have access to that information. I too have a college student who is starting this year, and I couldn't even get access to get online at her institution to pay her fee bill without her going in and deeming me a third-party proxy that gave me access to her information. And I'm like, girl, you want this bill paid? You got to give me the access to do it. Um, and if you want me to be able to talk to you about your grades and walk you through things, I need access to look at your stuff. It's up to them. You put the ball in their court, but they have to fill it out if they want you to have access to it. This includes coming in. So once we're back in person, say you want to support your scholar by coming to campus with them and coming to an appointment so that you're well versed on what's going on so you can know how best to support them. We can't allow you to even sit in on an advising session without a FERPA waiver on file. So I like to spend a lot of time on this slide and this topic to make sure families know what they're getting themselves into, what their students are getting themselves into when it comes to FERPA and the rights that they have as college students. And I'm going to go ahead and answer it because I just saw it pop up. It does not matter if they are a minor. My daughter, too, is 17 right now. Once they start at a post-secondary institution, no matter the age, no matter their minor, we have 12-year-olds, 13-year-olds that get admitted to UC Davis every year, and we are not allowed to share anything about their academic record without the FERPA waiver on file. And I will answer more Q&A about that when we get to it if there happens to be more that I didn't see. Okay. All right. So partnering for success, in addition to the services that I've already mentioned to you with like our peer-to-peer mentoring, our Biology Academic Success Center, we also have success coaching and learning strategies on campus. This is an opportunity for students to use tools like the self-assessment tool to learn more about themselves and what different like techniques can help them with their learning strategies. There's workshops on time management, test taking skills, academic success, one-on-one coaching. This is over in the success coaching and learning strategies department, I believe in the OEOES office. We also have academic assistants in the tutoring center, also known as the AATC on campus. This is a really great resource. I believe in the power of tutoring and academic support directly related to what's happening in the classroom. There's a lot of good support services of how we can help your students indirectly outside the classroom, but they want to make sure that they're also being successful in the classroom by mastering the materials. And that can be done through attending the tutoring support options that are available through the AATC. A stat from my time working in tutoring was always that students who attend tutoring tend to earn a grade level higher than what they would have without tutoring. So if you have a B student, those students are often elevated to A students by attending tutoring, and C students often elevated to B by attending tutoring. So truly, there's power behind getting some additional assistance through academic tutoring. So really encouraging students. There's tutoring offered all over campus, which is also really helpful for these STEM classes that can be a little bit harder. Okay. Health professions advising is another great one. They are our counterparts in advising. I'd like to emphasize that some students, they come in and they want to be a professional one day related to like med school, dental school, physical therapy, veterinary school, nursing, so on. They want to go into one of these professional schools. So they see health profession advising and they think that's where I need to be. So to differentiate for you all real quick, the Biology Academic Success Center, we're the ones who your students need to talk to about their major advising. So they're majoring in the biological sciences or molecular and medical biology or plant biology. The BASC advisors that I talked to you all about earlier are the advisors they're going to want to talk to about their degree progression, getting from point A to point B, which is graduation. We're the ones who will help them with that. Health professions advising is this extracurricular advising opportunity for students who are interested in a professional school. So your degree advisor, your major advisor, getting you to through your degree and on time to graduation, and then health professions can help your students learn more about what they need to do to get into a professional school. So they can help your students learn more about admissions requirements for medical school or veterinary school. They can talk to them and help them craft letters for admission. They can talk to them about maybe extracurricular activities that would be beneficial for when it's application time. They can help, but do students still take like the MCAT and things like that? It helps in those sort of ways. So health profession advising can help talk to your scholars about what it looks like to get into a professional school. But do not forget to, and yeah, so it depends on the grad school. I seen that pop up just now, but they're going to help in that way of getting them towards that direction. with an emphasis on the professional schools. And they even offer a post-bac program for students who want to take a little bit time between graduating with your bachelor's and then stepping into a professional school. They do offer a post-bac program over there. And they can, like it shows here, applications, prereqs, and just overall preparation. They work by appointments, drop-in, and workshops, similar to how we work. They have a website your students can go to schedule appointments. Again, just like to differentiate, BASC is your degree granting advising center. These are the folks you need to talk to make sure you're on progress to graduate on time. Your health professions advisors are the ones you want to talk to about preparing for entry into a professional program. Both great and essential to academic success. Just make sure that your students understand the difference between the two. Then you have the Undergraduate Research Center on campus, another great location where your students can connect with professional staff and students as well about getting involved in research opportunities, just different workshops and guidance, and even an opportunity to present at an annual research conference. I do not have the statistic off the top of my head. I know it's in like the hundreds, but so many of our CBS students participate in research and then go on to present their research at the annual research conference that's held by the URC. R- Um, Research is great because it gives your students hands-on opportunities to start exploring little pockets of science that they may be interested in. And they also don't have to just explore research within the College of Biological Sciences. So many students do find a professor in like the College of Engineering or the College of Ag and Environmental Sciences that is doing research that has a biology emphasis to it, and they go explore research with them too. And the URC is a great location that can help your students explore those options that are available to them both on campus and off campus. Okay, what's next? All right. Upcoming registration times. These are important. A couple of these dates are right coming up here on top of us starting tomorrow with August 15th and the 17th. So you have your open registration for new students. Registration is the time that your students can select their classes. Here we are. All of our incoming first year and transfer students should have already gone through their pass one where they had the opportunity to select classes for the first time. Those have passed over the last couple of weeks. So now tomorrow we're entering this secondary window of registration, which is called open registration for new students. This is the opportunity to go in and tweak schedules and move classes around, see what else is available and fix schedules up before we come to August 18th, which I believe is Monday. And through the 29th, which is past two for all students, both incoming new students and students who are already on campus. This is the another free for all where everybody can start adjusting their schedule, add classes to the wait list, and maybe try and see if new classes are like new sections are available or anything like that during past two before we enter one more window of open registration for all students on August 30th through September 14th. This is that last big window of registration opportunities for students before we get close to the start of the fall quarter, where schedule adjustment will begin on September 18th and then they can continue pretty much tweaking and adjusting their schedule in any way that they need to, all the way up to the add and drop deadlines that will come on the first couple weeks of school, the 10 and 20-day drop deadlines. Okay. All right, so your student's orientation week as a College of Biological Sciences, a CBS student, is going to come up before we know it, 1 month out from the start of the term. So 1 week before classes start, we have what's called our welcome week or orientation week. So for transfer students, that starts on Wednesday, September 17th, 2 days of dedicated programming for your orientation. We'll start Wednesday, September 17th from 9:30 to 11 a.m. with a big CBS transfer welcome. So we'll get all of our CBS transfer students together. Um, to do a welcome event for you all. And then on the following day, we'll break there. And there's so much other programming going on during orientation welcome week. This is just listing what we will be doing for our CBS students as a college. So you'll get information about programming and other opportunities to be involved in other campus programming events. This is what we're doing as a college. So the next day, we'll come back together as a college and do what's called major programming. We'll break our students down by major, send them to different spaces so that they can interact with their basket advisor and their faculty advisor to learn more about their major and research opportunities through our faculty. Then on that Friday, September 19th in the afternoon, we'll start programming for our first year students where we will do the same type of major programming with our basket advisors and our faculty advisors for our first year students, followed up by the big welcome event for you all for our first year students on the Monday, September 22nd. Um, I don't think that should say 10 p.m. Jasmine, go ahead and put that in the chat to let me know that that is going to be 10 a.m. 'Cause I'll
Definitely
be at
10 a.m. It is
okay, I'll be at
definitely
home. I'll be home with my kid at 10 p.m. So at 10 a.m. To 11:30 a.m. on Monday, September 22nd, we'll do the CBS first year welcome. Okay, next slide. All right. So this brings us to our frequently asked questions where I will pass the mic over to my colleague Yasmin Jefferson, who will start. She's going to put up some frequently asked questions that we often get that she's going to go ahead and start answering and we'll help her answer. And then we will also start diving into the questions that are in the Q&A box and chat. So go ahead, Yasmin. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everyone. So this is a very frequently asked question. What research and internship opportunities exist? And what is the experience like for CBS students? So as Ebony already mentioned, we do have the Undergraduate Research Center at UC Davis. That's where students can start to kind of develop their ideas about what they're interested in. They can figure out what faculty members are working on, what research ideas that they are also interested in. They can build their resume, their CVs. They can also get experience with conferences with research. So the Undergraduate Research Center is a great place to start if you just kind of, if the student kind of doesn't know where else to begin. So also, the next thing is this is how I got my experience with research in undergrad. You kind of build rapport with your faculty members. You go to class and you meet a faculty member that's doing research and you find it fascinating. And some kind of way after class or during office hours, you kind of start to build this rapport with the professor and you ask them, are you taking new students? You email them, are you taking new students on your research team? Are you looking for a research assistant? And most of the time, you'll build that relationship and you'll get on their research team according to just building that rapport with your professor. Also, if they're interested in an internship, we have the Internship and Career Center where we do have health related internships if the student's interested. You don't even have to necessarily apply and get approved. They're just going to match you with different health related internships that you could potentially work with. So the difference between research and internship is mostly research is at a lab, you're working hands-on experience with experimentation type of hands-on training in that way. But an internship is pretty much getting experience like on the job training. So that's the difference. If you want to kind of know what it feels like to be a dentist, you might be able to go work in a dentist office with an internship. If you want to do research with piglets and rats and mice, you'll be in a lab. So it just depends on what you're interested in. That's the difference between research and internship. And we have a lot of those opportunities for students. And also our first year seminar, some of those can get a student involved with research as well. So there's a lot of different options for CBS students. They just kind of have to decide which avenue they want to tackle first. So, what career opportunities can a CBS major expect, and how should a student prepare? To be honest, most of my students are going on to some type of health profession. I will be honest, that's the number one. That's the number one opportunities or the careers that I hear about. They want to go off to nursing school to be a nurse. They want to go to med school to be a doctor, or they want to go to dental school to be a dentist, optometrist, et cetera, et cetera. However, some of them will stop at the bachelor's degree and go on to work at a tech company, work in health related fields, advising type of roles, a lab technician, that type of experience. But most of my students do go on to do secondary, nursing school type of opportunities. They also go on to do research and grad programs as well. Some of them want to be a professor, and get involved in in-depth research and work for research companies, et cetera. So that just depends on what your student is interested in. But I'll be honest, don't be surprised if by the end that they finish their 4 years, that they completely change what they might want to do. So those are my experiences. If Ebony or Jasmine want to jump in, you all can
I
feel
will
free.
just jump in to say we also have a career center on campus that we encourage students to participate in. They sometimes actually come do like a little career resume workshop in our lobby. We'll have to see what that looks like after our remodel, but they are available on campus. They have advisors that are dedicated to the College of Biological Sciences that can talk to more to your students about career opportunities. And like Yasmin said, a lot do want to go to professional school, but there are so many other opportunities that students can do, like research experience. Maybe one of them go work for like the wildlife and fisheries. Um, Maybe they want to become a school teacher. Maybe they want to pursue a career in higher education. I have a bachelor's and a master's in biological sciences before I got my PhD in education and decided to work in administration. So there truly are a lot of options out there for your students, just depending on what their passion and interest are, including maybe they want to explore a grad program that's not going into like medical school, but it can help them excel and expand in the like research field and go on to pursue an option like that. Okay, you can go to the next one because I want to make sure we get to all these Q&As before we run out of time.
Where can students find resources to learn about degree requirements and planning courses? So first things first, you want to go to the catalog. Catalog will show you all of the degree requirements for your specific major, your student specific degree, the general education requirements for your student specific college, which is CBS. This can also be found through the BASC website. Our BASC website holds so much amazing information for students to have access to. We also have sample 4-year plans on our BASC website as well. Um, another link that some students might access on their own is My Degree. It's not 100% aligned with what we use in our office. So we do tell students when they review My Degree to also work with an academic advisor to make sure all of that information is current and actually efficient to what you're actually doing with your degree. So there are a lot of different ways for a student to learn about their degree requirements. And when they meet with their academic advisors, we will make academic plans for them based on their specific academic situation, their dual enrollments, their AP units, et cetera. I know I had a parent ask about AP units, and it's kind of confusing the way we have to explain it to parents, but we will go into more depth about the AP units with students and mandatory advising. Okay, how easy is it to change majors within the College of Biological Sciences, and what does that process look like? It's very easy to change your major, but you do have to wait until at least your second quarter at UC Davis, and you're in good academic standing, and you have at least a 2.0 GPA in the major coursework that you have taken for within the College of Biological Sciences. So if your student is starting in fall quarter, they can change their major in winter of 2026 as long as they are in good academic standing and have a 2.0 GPA in their major coursework. What advice do you have for new students and their family members to support a smooth transition for all? I'll answer, and I'll also let anybody else on the panel answer if they would like to. I always tell students not to overwhelm themselves, not to start out of the gate going too fast, taking too many STEM courses at once. I know a lot of students come from high school and they're like, oh, I took this many classes in high school. I had a 4.0 and I was this stellar student. You're going to be a stellar student here as well, but because you're changing your environment, you're starting in a new school, you're coming into a quarter system potentially from a semester system, you kind of want to give yourself a chance to get acclimated to your new environment and take 2 major classes with 1 non-STEM course just to kind of slowly get into the program. And then eventually you'll be able to take off and you'll be golden.
The
Anything
other
you want
thing
to
I
add?
would add is just trying to enroll in that first year seminar specifically for our biological sciences students. It is the only opportunity that you have to take the course is your first quarter with us in the college. So I do recommend it because they bring a lot of the resources that we talked about in this presentation to the class. So the Career Center presents in Bio 5 and Biz 198. Or Biz, sorry, I keep getting Bio and Biz confused because we got some department stuff. But Biz 5 and Biz 198, they have folks come in. The BAS comes in to present. HPA comes in to present. So it really is a good way of learning about resources without actively going out to seek them, which can be kind of scary for an incoming first year student. So that one I do recommend for everybody.
Here we
I
are.
think, yeah, I think at this time we can kind of transition to some of the ones on the Q&A box that we might want to answer live.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen a couple of questions about a graphing calculator. I don't know. I've never heard about that before. Have any of you ever heard about a graphing
No,
calculator?
I answered one too, saying I'm pretty sure that would be outlined by the math department, and would be in your student's syllabus for class if they, or they can even reach out to the math department and just ask if they have any general recommendations for whichever class your student is, registering for.
I also see a bunch of questions about open registration and pass two and like what the difference is between those. So every incoming student will have access to open registration between August 15th, starting at 6 a.m., all the way through August 17th. So you can use any time within that window to go ahead and register for and adjust your schedule. It's a really good opportunity that if a student got maybe only one major class to go in and fix everything up for that. Path two, however, is different and it is based off of an assigned time specific to your student. So if the student wants to adjust their schedule after open registration during path two, they'll have to go on Schedule Builder to identify what their specific assigned time is. And that one's usually based on seniority. So we have some continuing students that usually adjust their schedules first, and then it kind of goes down the line based on who's eligible at that point. So my recommendation to all incoming students is to take advantage of open registration before all of the seats get released to everybody else. So tomorrow is your time to shine. And registration is just like online shopping. You can load up your cart now and check out tomorrow. So that's what I
I just
recommend.
put that in the chat too. Please do not wait till pass two. I answered a question. Pass two, like she said, opens up for the whole university, so you don't want to wait. Open registration right now is only for our incoming new students, so it's still keeping classes saved for them before it opens up to the general population. So don't wait until pass two. Start registering for what you need now, add what you need during pass two. Pass two, there's also about registration time on pass two. That will be indicated on your student's record. If they log into, I believe, like their Oasis portal, there's a spot that will tell them what time their pass two window is. Where else is that time located, Yasmin and Jasmine?
For OpenRidge,
No, for pass two, their times.
I'll put the link in the chat, but it's the registration calendar.
Okay.
Their specific time will be on Oasis on their homepage too. Like it'll, like someone said, their daughter's past time is August 18th. Well, the exact time on that day will be on their Oasis homepage. It'll tell them when they can actually start. And I think it's
Yep.
also on their schedule builder when they can actually start
Like their
registering.
My UC Davis page, maybe as
Yeah,
well.
it's in
Yep.
multiple places.
Yep.
Oasis schedule builder, they'll be able to see when they can start registering on their past 2 day on the exact time that they can start.
And that's a 4-hour window that you have for pass two. So just keep that in mind. I also see a good question about Bio 1 being a major requirement, if it is a major requirement. So this is a good opportunity for us to address this. So what you might see listed in the catalog as introductory biology is Biz 2A, B, and C. However, we are introducing a new biological sciences series, and it's called Bio 1, 2, and 3. For all of our first year students, we do recommend Bio 1. So that is the course that we will recommend for all of our students, and it will be changed in the catalog to reflect that this is our new standard series. And I can also put information about Bio 123 in the chat.
About the PowerPoint slides, I know the recording is posted by orientation. Do they post the slides as well, Jasmine?
I don't think that they do, but we can probably send it out as an attachment because we also will be emailing out with the video. Yeah.
Move-in dates are outside of our wheelhouse. They are assigned by the orientation folks. Um, I can't speak to when they are offered for move-in dates. I've seen a couple of those float through the chat. So
Yeah, we've gotten a ton of questions. I think everybody wants their roommate stuff
yeah.
figured out, and I totally get that. But yeah, contact housing for all of those sorts of things. I
Mhm.
can find some contact info for y'all here.
I also am not sure. We will not be hosting any other programming for parents during orientation. I don't know if orientation during Welcome Week will offer a family session. This is supposed to be it for the most part. This is all, so the sessions that I was telling you about the welcome and the major programming time with advisors and faculty is strictly for students. It is not for family as well. And let me go over to the other chat, see if there's anything left there.
Pass, no pass classes.
But just so you know about Bio Launch Mentor Collective, your students will send an email or will be sent an email encouraging them to sign up. It is optional. They can opt into it. So tell your students to be out the lookout for a Bio Launch Mentor Collective email to opt into that if they'd like to connect with a mentor. I mentioned you have to fill out FERPA even for minors. Please encourage, and your student has to initiate it. You all cannot initiate that waiver. The student has to initiate it. At what point in registration timeline does the student need to ensure they have a minimum of 12 units? By time class starts, hopefully they are in a minimum of 12 units. We recommend 12 to 15 to start, depending on, how much of a workload your student wants to take on. But by the time they start classes, they need to be in a minimum of 12 units. So they have all of these windows now, pass one, open reg, pass two, to tweak their schedule and get to where they need. They can wait lists for classes, but we always encourage them to have minimum 12 units of classes, not including waitlist hours, to ensure that you're a full-time student. Then if you get into one of your waitlist classes and you want to adjust your schedule, you can do that during schedule adjustment windows. Let's see. Purple waiver, I put it in, I think somebody put it in the chat earlier. It's on that site that I told y'all to take a picture of. The CBS undergrads at ucdavis.edu is our ticket system, or your student can reach out to their advisors during an appointment or express advising and get a copy of that FERPA waiver to submit electronically. Again, has to be initiated by your students emailing or contacting us during an appointment. Yasmin's going to answer that question in the chat, a Q&A about drop deadlines. Jasmine, can you talk about taking Biz 2A instead of Bio 1, please, while I keep going through the chat?
Yeah, no worries. So if your student is enrolled in Biz 2A instead of Bio 1, we do ask that they switch into Bio 1 and 1L. Biz 2A is not exactly the same as Bio 1 and 1L, so that can create prerequisite problems for the student down the line. So I would just recommend dropping Biz 2A and switching into Bio 1 and 1L. And if the student does need any help enrolling in that course, they can also contact us through that ticket system, the CBS undergrads at ucdavis.edu, and then we can have an advisor reach out to the student. And then I see something else in the chat about taking Bio 1 your first quarter. So depending on your major, usually Basque advisors offer recommendations for different classes to take your first quarter. Some majors we recommend calculus and chemistry, and then some majors we recommend Bio 1 and chemistry, right? So there is no wrong answer for which two you should try to prioritize your first quarter, but depending on the major, we just prefer specific ones just because of the way the flow works for that major, right? And we do recommend no more than 2 STEM classes that first quarter, whether it's transfer student or a first year student. We really find that students are a lot more successful with their workload if they limit their STEM courses to 2.
There is a question in the chat about if the transfer student can't attend. So I've been answering some questions directly in the chat, so definitely browse back if you need to. But if your transfer student cannot attend orientation, orientation is mandatory, and they will need to connect with the orientation folks to figure out their and I think like an exception to not be there, but it is a mandatory attendance for students. So I can't the what we're doing during orientation is typically not shared out. I don't know if anything else from campus is shared out either.
And I do want to say, I know some folks are talking about getting advising appointments. We do continue to have Aggie advising appointments all the way until the first day of the quarter. So if your student does need any additional support there, you can make an appointment. There should be a number of them open now. And I see now that we are about at time. So we're going to finish up asking questions in the chat, and then we're going to go ahead and wrap up. The recording for this particular session is going to be found on the orientation website under parent and supporter webinar. And don't worry too much because we're going to be emailing this out to all of our students that are incoming as early as tomorrow if I can get the recording all set. And so with that, I'm going to go ahead and stop our recording.